back to the Small Business Show, where you get to hear the journey, find the challenge, and create solutions. I'm your host, Lori Brooks, and I thank you so much for joining me today. If you're enjoying the show, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Today, I have the opportunity to chat with Maggie Levy, founder and CEO of Seven Pillars Bookkeeping Solutions, a firm dedicated to helping business owners, particularly in the construction, contracting, and food vendor industries, enhance their revenue and streamline their financial processes. With over 20 years of experience in the sales and financial sectors, including 11 years focused on accounting, Maggie brings a wealth of knowledge and passion for proactive financial management to her clients. Maggie's expertise and dedication make her an invaluable asset to any business. Maggie, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Certainly. I am super excited to dive into your journey as an entrepreneur. But before we do, I want to rewind the clock. I
hmm
want to go back to the days of, say, the time when you were a teenager. Think about a time when maybe an aunt or an uncle, or even a mentor at school, someone asking you the question, Maggie, what is it you're going to do when you grow up? What was your answer to that question?
Good question. I would probably answer, and I probably did answer, I was not sure. I really just didn't have much guidance. My parents were
Hmm.
great, really did the best they could, but didn't really have that guidance, financial guidance, or like, hey, what do you want to do to grow up college, talk, none of that. So I kind of went with the wind at the most part and just kind of learned along the way, what my strengths were, what I liked, what I didn't like. So eventually over time, I was able to strengthen that and know more of what I wanted to do. But teenager, no, I have no idea.
I love that. It's funny. Sometimes people come on the show and they're like, oh, I wanted to be this, or oh, I wanted to be that. And it's
Mhm,
never actually what the journey turns out to be. But I
mhm,
love the fact that there are plenty of us out there, much like myself. I had ideas, but there was
mhm,
never like a definitive, this is it, this is what it's going to be. It was always flexing throughout the journey. And I think that's important for people to recognize. You don't necessarily know what the journey is going to look like or what you want it to look like before
mhm,
it begins. So, what were those first steps or that first introduction for you to entrepreneurship? Because I know for me, my parents were not entrepreneurs, they
mhm,
worked for a living. So the entrepreneurial journey was not something that I was really privy to or introduced to until much later in life. So, what was that introduction for you?
Yeah, and I can relate. I didn't, my parents were working as well too, just kind of putting a roof over our heads. So I never really had the insight, or understanding
Hmm.
of entrepreneurship. I always seen others and they were successful. And I was like, wow,
Hmm.
that seemed really cool, but didn't really know how to do that myself until a few years ago. So I always had a sense of, selling. I was in sales and financial
Hmm.
for over 20 years. So I was good with people, talking with them, learning products, things of that nature. And then about 13 years ago, had a fork in the road and really started focusing on my accounting career and just didn't want to do sales anymore. I had young children at the time and I wanted to focus more on, being able to grow the accounting. So moved all the way up from billing contracts manager to a chief financial officer, which was my last position. So really exciting just to be able to grow that quickly, in 11
Hmm.
years. So then in 21, we added one more potato to the pot. So now we went from a family of four to a family of five, and he's a
Wow,
cutie.
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. And I was also turning 40. So for all
Mhm.
those wonderful women, I did not know what happens at 40. And so something happens to us mentally, physically, and with a new family, a new baby, and the family, and my
Mhm.
husband and mom, and something had to give. And I was really
Mhm.
in a great position as a chief financial officer. I was managing 19 locations. There's a
Mm.
lot of mental energy there
Right.
that honestly I wasn't really able to keep up with. So I was let go, but not necessarily performance. And this I was doing bad. I just wasn't able to keep up. And
Hmm.
I totally respected that. It was hard for me to swallow that, but I could sense something was gonna give.
Right,
And
right.
one door closes, right, another one opens. And it took a
There
lot
you
of time
go.
and it was revealed to me, for over the last couple months, end of 21, that to start my own bookkeeping business. And I really didn't never really saw that for myself. My daughter shared that with me months before while I was working. And I said, "Oh, sweetheart, you're very sweet, but my arms are like octopus. I can't start a business." And so, believe it or not, once I was able to take some of that quiet time and reflection, it was
Mm.
revealed to start it in January 22. And so I did. And so ever since then, the doors opened up. Really grateful, just for every step of it, the name of the business, all the way through the foundation of it, the business model, everything. So in January 22, I launched Seven Pillars Bookkeeping Solutions.
Yay! So
Yeah.
congratulations on the launch. That is absolutely wonderful. And I thank you so much for sharing how the spark and the thought process actually came from your daughter, from a random suggestion from your child who thought to herself, I know who's capable of accomplishing something of this sort. And of course, you set that example for her that you are capable of accomplishing so much that she saw that in you even when you didn't see it in yourself. So that is such a beautiful way for it to have been sparked in your journey. So congrats. That's amazing. So
Hmm.
once you started and you launched and you really took that time to reflect and kind of think through, okay, how would this suit me? How would this serve? What do you feel were some of the challenges of beginning to dive into the entrepreneurial journey? What were some of those first steps and the first hiccups that you may have encountered then?
Once it was revealed to me, it was more of a spiritual journey. So that
Mhm,
opportunity that my daughter revealed to me really kind of brought me back to being able to just search out, saying as a born again Christian, it was revealed just in detail. What I mean? How is it that this business was going to work? All the way from starting a name to how's it going to function. And so through that, I was able to kind of have opportunities for mentorship. So there was a mentorship. It's called Booming Bookkeeping Business. The company or the gentleman that started it has now helped over 8,000 bookkeepers start their own business. And so it's different when you do bookkeeping for a business owner, right?
mhm,
Versus having your own business. And so opportunities like that, what I'm saying, kind of came to me and I was able to really kind of get that going. And so some challenges were it's really direction, like,
mhm,
okay, so we got this revelation, we got this idea, got the foundation set. Okay, I
mhm,
understand the business model. So now how do you get clients, right? How do you get
mhm.
customers? How do you get paid? You know what I mean? Far as that. So the mentorship kind of gave me that stepping stone, what I mean? Because
Mhm,
it really trains you on all the modules on marketing, all the documents that you'll need, right? Proposals,
mhm,
engagement letters, how to
mhm,
put yourself out there, value proposition, things like that. So that was a challenge on really how am I going to get myself out there? How do people know I'm here? And then the second thing was networking, you know what I mean? So,
mhm,
okay, so now it's good to definitely work on getting clients, but there's other business people out there as well too that I can utilize to let them know, hey, this is what I do. If you know somebody that needs bookkeeping, pass my information along.
yes.
So I began starting networking, local networking. I'm part of a national networking, saying program as well too. So I guess just the challenge of how do I get myself out there in the sense of clients and business partners and
Mhm,
time. If I was to give you one more, I would really just say time. So now time management, you got, okay, it's your own business. You're not tied to that 9 to 5. Right now, you got to figure out time management between work-life balance. But
mhm,
you're doing it. You got to figure that out for yourself, and being able to set boundaries. Set
mhm.
boundaries when I end at 5. So 5 o'clock, okay, turn it off, and then you go into I'm saying the next thing. So time management definitely was a challenge, and over time I've been able to definitely sharpen that and get that on track.
Time management tends to be a headache for everyone. In fact, I say it's the one most important thing that's not on anybody's to-do list, but it should be there. It should be something that people focus a little more on, and you're forced to do so even more so once you launch this sort of a journey. I love that you spoke to just the direction. Once you've laid this foundation, you've had this inspiration and this drive, what's
Hmm.
next? And
Hmm.
really getting that mentorship, surrounding yourself with the right people who are going to help
Hmm.
you guide the journey in the right direction, because lack of direction and time management are definitely two of the bigger headaches when you initiate this sort of a journey. So thank you for speaking to both of those. So you
Yeah.
are now the proud founder and CEO of Seven Pillars Financial Solutions. So tell us about where you are with the practice now and what you're looking forward to coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. So this year, particularly, I have some goals, my vision board for the year. So the first thing is I'm really excited that I'm gonna have my first ebook launching on June 7th. So that's really exciting. And this is going to be for restaurateurs and food vendors. So typically, I do help all businesses with a specialty in contractors, construction, and restaurants. And then I end up actually increasing their revenue about $48,000 a year by taking bookkeeping off their plate. So what's awesome about the ebook, it'll give them a snapshot of seven pillars, that can help them in their bookkeeping, that niche or that industry may or may not know, and that could
Mhm,
really be implemented on their own. Or of course they can reach out to me, and I can help them manage that and be able to gain or redirect. I like to say redirect their time into putting that into
mhm.
their business versus their own bookkeeping. So exciting about that. And then also looking to far as increase, far as the client base in those industries, and then looking to launch a podcast of my own for the
Yeah.
restaurant and food vendors. So that's always exciting as well too, and give out some bookkeeping tips. I don't see a lot of podcasts where they're really giving
Mm,
value for that industry. So my
mhm,
goal typically for each show is to say, hey, what is a bookkeeping tip that particular restaurateur that I may be interviewing at the time wants answered, and then give the viewers some bookkeeping tips, like what can you do right now as soon as you leave,
mhm.
that you can do back in your office, and that can be helpful to them. So that's exciting as well too.
That is exciting. So I can't
Yeah.
wait to include the link to the ebook in the show notes page. And you must tell us all about the podcast as soon as you're ready to launch. I look forward to having you back so we can chat about the podcast when you are ready to go ahead and launch that. I
Mhm.
am very excited and look forward to being one of your first listeners. So,
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
of
that. That's awesome.
of course, of course. So I'd love to know if you had
Mhm.
the ability to go back, say 20 years, and tell yourself anything at all, what would
Mhm.
you tell yourself 20 years prior to starting any sort of entrepreneurial journey?
I would tell myself to two things really. I'm saying? Find what is it that you're good at. I'm saying? Like a skill set, one
Mm,
skill set that you are good at and that you can go out and be able to help others with and be able to maximize that into your own business. And that's one thing that I definitely learned quickly. This accounting, journey that I was on, my career, just thinking, okay, I'm going to be here for 20 years at a certain business. When all along, saying those 11 years, I was sharpening my accounting skills to
mhm,
now today be able to help other business owners, be able to help them with their bookkeeping. So it's a skill set. It's a skill set that I've learned, and now I can use that, to be able to help others and create, my own business with it. And so I would definitely tell myself that. And second, I would really say motivation brings back consistency.
mm,
Sometimes as a business owner, you're not always motivated. You know what I
mhm,
mean? It happens regardless how many
yeah.
years you've been an entrepreneur. That once you lose that some of that motivation, just stay consistent. That
Mhm.
consistency, a little bit each day, will bring back the motivation, and then you'll continue to see growth in your business.
I love those. Excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's so important to really look around and grab those nuggets throughout the journey. As you mentioned, because you never know what that one thing is when you're starting or when you're a kid. Some people are blessed and just happen to know what that one thing is. But for the majority of us, there's no clue for quite some time. And you just
Hmm.
gotta kind of grab those pieces throughout the journey. And then at some point, stop, reflect, look at what those pieces are, what they culminate to, and how that journey can be shaped for yourself. So if you had the ability to change anything at all in the
Hmm.
accounting industry, what do you think that would be?
In the accounting industry,
Hmm.
I would say there is a gap. I think there's a gap that I keep seeing over the last, say, couple years of having my
Hmm.
own business. I think it's just bringing value, saying
Mm.
give entrepreneurs are not, they're equipped, right? They're skilled at their craft, whether you are a
Right.
contractor, a roofer, plumber, restaurateur, they enjoy it. That's if that's all they had to do all day, they would do it. But they have to
Mhm.
do marketing, right? They gotta do bookkeeping, they gotta do office work and paperwork and stuff like that. So there are many hats, that they
Mhm.
don't want to do, but they have to do. And so, if I really had to change something in the accounting realm, it's really bringing value to the bookkeeping
Mhm.
piece to the business owner. Bookkeeping is one of the last things they want to do. It's always at the bottom of the drawer and it's closed until December 31st or the first quarter. That way they got to pull it out. All the receipts are in an envelope. And they're like, oh my goodness, I don't want to deal with this. And
Yeah.
so, if there was an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, where they can get, I say, value and tips that they can actually use. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
For example, accounting software. Okay, they know they need accounting software, but what accounting
Mhm.
software?
Right.
Yes, I'm a QuickBooks Pro advisor, but there's some really good ones as well too. Or
Mhm.
for example, equipment list. It's important to have one, report or sheet of paper, 4 columns of equipment list that you have. And are you depreciating that to get your
Mm.
depreciation expense right off? So
Mhm.
as they're doing business, these are just some things like, oh yeah, I just bought a $15,000 piece of equipment. Let me
Mhm.
even if it's the paper where you have all of it, write it down. Okay, quantity, value, cost. So then you have everything in one spot. When you give it to your CPA or a bookkeeper, you're not missing out on that
Mhm.
opportunity, saying, for depreciation expense. So, yeah, I would definitely say that more of the bookkeeping tips. Absolutely.
That that's an excellent tip that you just gave. So I thank you for imparting that bit of value on the audience. I know your podcast is going to continue to do the same. You are dropping nuggets left and right. You are taking the multiple hats that entrepreneurs wear, removing a couple of them for people, allowing them a bit more time management, allowing them
Mhm.
some work-life balance. Please share the best way for our viewers to find you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can find me a couple places. One, definitely on my website. So that's www.v as in Victor, II Pillars, LLC.com, or find me at LinkedIn under my name, Maggie Levy, or Facebook or Instagram under the Seven Pillars LLC.
Perfect. Seven Pillars LLC. I will be sure to include the links on the show notes page. Be sure to send me the link to the ebook so we can include that on the
Mhm.
show notes page as well. Maggie, you've been outstanding. I thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. It's been great.